Welcome back to In Focus Kentucky. On today's episode, we're previewing Kentucky's 6th district race where incumbent Republican Annie Barr will take on Democratic nominee Amy McGrath in what is shaping up to be one of the most competitive elections in America. We'll have more with Amy McGrath, but first, Congressman Andy Barr was extended an invite to appear on the show as well, but his office tells us due to scheduling conflicts, he was unable to make it, and we hope to have the congressman on the show during the month of October. Those voters that you're getting to go out and meet throughout the district here in central Kentucky who are kind of on the fence and may want to hear more from you about why they should vote for Amy McGrath, especially if they're from a different party, what do you say to them?
Well, I'd say the best way to learn about my issue stances is to go on my website. I do all my own writing for my issues, and so I have pretty complex write-ups on things like national security, on things like healthcare, jobs, and the economy. I came out with a 32-page economic plan for just the 6th district because you got to have a plan, right? I'm a military officer by trade. We plan for everything. And that's how, we cannot fix the problems that we have today. I'm a problem solver. We can't fix them with slogans. We can't fix them by pummeling the other side and saying that the other side never has any good ideas. That's just not true. We need to come together. We need to be honest about the problems and have a plan. And so I would tell people, go to my website and you can pull up some of those plans.
Now, how have you been received in parts of the district that are maybe not so liberal, or and then also how do you plan to get through to conservative voters who are looking to decide on a candidate in the election?
Well, I go out to, like I said, all the counties. I talk to as many people as I can. And you know what? There's lots of folks who disagree. If we line up 20 issues between anybody, you're going to disagree on some of these things. It's about who do you trust? It's about things like, hey, what have I done in my life? My background. I want to be somebody who they can trust to go into Congress and work for them. Even if we disagree on some issues, I want to listen to them. Remember, this is a district that has very diverse views, and you have to have somebody that is okay with bucking their own party. And I am. Believe me, the Democratic National Party, they didn't want me, okay? And I ran against the candidate that they recruited, and I beat him. And so now I'm running against the Republican establishment. And that's the kind of thing that a lot of people really like, even if they disagree with me on 1 or 2 issues. My husband's a Republican. We don't agree on everything, but we get along.
And on that note, how do you plan to address that if elected to the Congress? With working with the Democratic Party, you were going to vote.
Well,
how?
Let me be clear. I don't want to go to Washington to represent the 6th district as a Democrat or a Republican. I want to go to represent the 6th district as an American. My #1 priority will always be putting our country and the people of the 6th district first, even if it means going against my party. If my own party goes off the cliff, I won't be following them. And I think that's a clear distinction between myself and the current incumbent in the seat right now. He basically just follows whatever his party tells him to do.
And you're sharing with me that you have been traveling throughout the district, attending different events that are going on. What's been kind of, as a first-time candidate, just your reaction to seeing new events and being out there and literally meeting people for the very first time?
It's great. I mean, you go out to festivals. This weekend I was in Clark County and Wolfe County, and people are excited. They want to tell you what they think you should be doing, which I love. I love to get feedback. But mostly, people just want folks who they can trust, who aren't bought off by special interests, who they can be proud of. And that's what I want to do. I want to be somebody who's a real leader. I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by amazing leaders in the Marine Corps. And the best leaders were not the ones who always told me what I wanted to hear, but they were the ones who had a vision. And they were the ones who were honest and made things happen. And that's the kind of leader I want to be going forward.
And earlier you touched on health care is one of your top priorities, and in Kentucky, opioid addiction and that crisis, the opioid crisis, is a major concern for people in the Bluegrass State. How can we work to tackle that particular issue?
Well, it's a huge issue. I think the first thing that we need to make sure is that we're not cutting health care from people, because, you know, with treatment, you're not going to get treatment if you're thrown off of your health insurance and thrown off of your health care. That's number one. But we have to tackle this problem the way we've tackled epidemics in America in the past. We had a polio epidemic, we had an HIV/AIDS epidemic, and how did we tackle those things? We didn't tackle them by Band-Aid fixes. We didn't tackle them by just talking about them. We actually invested in prevention and treatment, and I think that in science. And that's how we've done it in the past. And we need to come together as a country at the federal level and have some real investments to mitigate this problem. And it's not just going to be one thing. It's going to be things like going after the pharmaceutical industry that has been it's a source of a lot of this problem. But it's also you know, re-educating the population, re-educating on the opioid crisis, and medical professionals as well. So it's a multi-pronged thing, but it's going to require real effort and investment from the federal level.
And in our last moment of this particular segment, for those voters who are listening to you and they want to hear final words from you on why they should potentially vote for you in the November election, tell us why they should.
Well, I think it's time in this country to elect people who are not your standard politicians, who did not grow up within a political party, but who have served the country. And I have done that, and I believe it's time to elect people that really just want to put the country above everything else, above their partisan politics. So that's what I want to do. I want to be a leader of integrity, somebody that folks can trust, somebody who's going to work for good jobs, real long-lasting jobs, and work for health care, not to undermine the system that we have. So I think those are the things that people care most about in this country.
Well, Amy, we thank you for joining us here on In Focus Kentucky, and we appreciate your time today.
All right, thanks.
Coming up, we'll speak with two journalists who have covered the race since before the primary elections, and we'll ask them to recap all that's happened so far and preview the race heading into November. That's next here on In Focus Kentucky.